This country, under this APC regime, came to become the poverty capital of the world. It became the place where the minimum wage became the miserable wage for workers.
But if you think about Nigeria itself, it's an open prison.
Hello there, this is the World News at 12 on Voice of the People, 90.3 FM. My name is Chioma Innocent and here are the top stories. Trump survives second assassination attempt. Take It Back movement condemns Sowore's arrest and backs planned protest. NSA threatens a 10 billion naira lawsuit over election rigging allegation. NNPC to sell Dangote petrol over 1,000 naira per litre in Borno and 950 naira in Lagos. And Delta APC reps member to be punished for endorsing Governor Oborewori. Details now. Thank you for staying with us. The news at 12 begins outside the shores of Nigeria, where former U.S. President and Republican nominee for the 2024 election, fighters Ryan Wesley Roth, has been arrested by officials and the attack is under investigation. Meanwhile, back home in Nigeria, rights advocacy organization Take It Back movement has condemned the arrest of a popular human rights activist and former presidential candidate of the African Action Congress AAC, Omoyele Sowore, by the Nigeria Immigration Service (NIS). VOP News gathered that Sowore was arrested and briefly detained by the service upon his arrival at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Lagos, on Sunday. Sowore, who returned from the United States, was reportedly arrested over his investment in the August nationwide protest. Reacting, the Take It Back movement, in a statement issued today by its Director of Communications, Chidi Nwanyanwu, expressed dismay over what it termed the continuous intimidation of Nigerian activists by the current administration. The organization also said it is firmly in support of the planned nationwide protest against hardship and hunger, tagged #Fearless in October. Earlier today, in an exclusive interview with Cordelia Okbeye right here on VOP 90.3 FM, we had Omoyele Sowore speaking on the Fearless in October protest and his brief detention while arriving in Nigeria yesterday. Let's take a listen.
I think you should understand that this is a lifelong struggle, and even man switching up, now they're 17 because we've asked them to release all the, withdraw the charges against all the people that they're charged for treason or those who are arbitrarily detained either by the police, DSS, or these courtrooms. We want to be very clear that we did not protest because we want dialogue. And I made it very clear show that even protest itself is dialogue with the deaf. But our goal wasn't to go into a meeting with the federal government and engage in those disgraceful kind of one-way dialogue. When you go to some of these meetings, I don't go to them because, there's monologue. They tell you what they want. But our goal is to ensure that those conditions are met and those demands are met. And that's why when they're not met, that means the protests are not intense enough. There will be more protests and there will be more intense protests until people get what they want.
In a recent development, the National Security Advisor NSA Malam Nuhu Ribadu has demanded a retraction of election rigging allegations made against him by the chairman of Edo chapter of the People's Democratic Party PDP, Anthony Aziegbemi. You will recall that the PDP chairman had in a statement on Saturday accused the federal government of planning to rig the Edo governorship elections. The statement alleged that the federal government was using Ribadu and the Department of State Service DSS to rig the gubernatorial election. Ribadu had released $2 million to the APC governorship candidate in the election as part of the plot. In reaction to the allegation, Ribadu's lawyers Charles Musan Co described the allegation as totally false and demanded immediate retraction. The lawyers also demanded payment of 10 billion naira as damages for reputation and other injuries. You will recall that the PDP in Edo State had raised the alarm over plans to undermine the electoral process as the state gears up for the governorship elections come September 21. Now let's take a listen to the Edo State Commissioner for Communication and Orientation, Chris Nehikare, speaking on this issue.
1. Despite all the appeals made to the police to end the indiscriminate arrest of chieftains of PDP, they have yet deployed some other squads of policemen from outside Edo State to begin massive arrests of PDP chieftains perceived to be politically strong in their various constituencies in order to pave way for the manipulation of the elections in those areas. This intimidation tactics is irresponsible and most reprehensible. 2. Our intelligence has also uncovered massive production of masks and police uniforms by agents of the APC to veil their thugs who they plan to deploy to disrupt voting processes in units and wards where they know they do not stand a chance of victory. Only recently, a chieftain of the APC wore one of these uniforms, and the police even presented defense for such wanton display of impersonation. We have also uncovered plans to redeploy all the security officials attached to His Excellency Governor Obaseki in order to leave him without protection and render him vulnerable as we head into the election as well as on election day. This is a very dangerous thing, and we got this information from very close to the highest officer in the Nigerian police, and we take it very, very seriously. And we know what their plans are. Cause as much distraction, as much disorder in our state.
Meanwhile, the Nadu Federal Constituency in the House of Representatives, Honorable Francis Wave, an APC member, endorsed Governor Sheriff Oborewori for his second term, an action considered an offence by the party. In a letter addressed to the lawmaker dated 15 September 2024 and signed by Elder Omoyele Sowore, the state chairman of the Delta APC, the party described his endorsement of Honorable Sheriff Oborewori for a second term as gross anti-party activity. The party therefore gave him 7 days to appear in person and give reasons why severe disciplinary measures should not be taken against him by the party. The lawmaker is yet to respond to the letter. Meanwhile, Nigeria's former civilian president, Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, on Sunday held a closed-door meeting at the uphill residence of former military head of state, General Abdul Salami Abubakar, in Mina, Niger State. The meeting was also involved former military president, General Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida. Sources suggest that the discussion may have revolved around pressing national issues, particularly the current economic challenges facing the country. Former President Obasanjo reportedly flew in from Benin City, Edo State, after attending the 90th birthday celebration of the Esama of Benin Kingdom, Chief Gabriel Osawaru Igbinedion. Former National Security Advisor NSA General Aliyu Guzar, retired, was also present at the meeting. You're currently listening to the World News at 12 on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. After the break, we'll bring you the news analysis segment. Do stay tuned. Welcome back. Still on the news at 12. It's now time for us to enter into the news analysis segment. And for that, I have revered journalist as well as political, social and national affairs analyst, Mr. Chukwuma Okoro. Always a pleasure to have you here. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Chairman. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining me. For a minute before we go into issues that are affecting Nigerians, Trump seems to have survived the second assassination attempt, and this was after his debate with Kamala Harris last Tuesday. What really do you have to say about this? Some people who are not even interested in politics these days are wondering, what is it about Trump that the people do not want him? But what we've seen so far is your attempt. It wasn't like these people were contracted by anybody to harm him. They're just people who are not happy with him.
Well, Chama, it's too early to say that these people were not contracted. I think it's a developing story. The second attempt is a developing story. So I think it's rather too early to say that these people were not contracted. This
person has a history of owning weapons of mass destruction. This person is pro-Ukraine. And
okay,
for so now, investigators are saying he acted alone.
He's pro-Ukraine. So it's clearly could be a lone wolf attack. In international security, there's something we call lone wolf attacks. You know, these are people who act independent of any organization. Like you said, you know, there's nobody, a known entity that is sponsoring him now. So it could be lone wolf. And you also have to take it from the fact that a lot of people might not be happy with him, people who have sympathies with Iran. You have talked about the Ukraine issue and all of that, about the Latinos.
He also recently alleged that Haitian immigrants were stealing and killing pets and eating them.
Exactly. You know, he tried to build a wall, you know, off Mexico, the coast of Mexico, between the United States. And so if you put all those things together, you discover that a lot of people were actually against Trump. So if you want to translate these attacks, you know, by people who are trying to take him out, you don't need to travel far to see where it is coming from. You know, so, but like I said, it's a developing story. And by the time the FBI or CIA, particularly the FBI, by the time they come out with their investigations, you'll be able to put a finger, you know, on those behind this attack. But I think it is one too many. In the history of America, of United States, I think it's only about 3 presidents three people that have been assassinated in office. Lincoln was one of them, Harding was another, and then John F. Kennedy. And attempts have been made on the lines of four people. Trump happens to be the fourth person. You know, so it is one too many. And you discover that it's a kind of a climate of hate that has enveloped the United States.
So people who are taking their hate not just from online to offline.
No, physical to the extent that you talk about it in terms of the vision, the fault lines that are very deep in the United States of America now. And Choma, it's very difficult to take it away from racism. You know, when you talk about the white supremacists, which a group of people that Trump apparently or subtly tried to prop up. You also look at the Black Lives Matter. If you put all those things together, you see that America is more divided racially today than it was like 10, 15 years ago. And it's not good for the image of United States of America, being that they also carry some kind of symbolism when you talk about freedom and democracy in the global arena.
All right, then it is the world news at 12, so we need to talk about this international issues. But then let's come back home to Nigeria. Just yesterday, presidential candidate of the African Action Congress and of course rights activist Omoyele Sowore was detained by the Nigerian Immigration Service when he arrived from the United States of America. A lot of people had been asking because he was mentioned as one of those who sponsored or had an investment in the August 1 to 10 protest, that he was one of those whom the federal government was looking forward to talking to whenever he enters into the country. And thankfully, he was detained after a short while. We had him earlier today on radio, and he spoke about how when he got to the airport, they detained him, said his passport was flagged on their system, and they asked him for a waiver. Says he's a Nigerian citizen. Why would he need a waiver to enter into the country? Now, the Take It Back movement is saying you cannot keep arresting activists. And there is a hashtag Fearless in October protest coming up, which means the federal government should get ready to arrest more people if this is what it is doing right now. But Sowore has said he doesn't mind and that the people will keep protesting until they get what they want. On one hand, they were saying the protest is not achieving anything. On the other hand, they were saying we'll keep protesting. Is it not contradictory?
Sure, it's not contradictory. The Sowore story is an interesting one. And I like to correct the fact that you say that the Nigerian government said they would like to talk to him if he comes back. If you want to talk to somebody, don't tell the person, if you land here, I'm going to arrest you. They clearly said they were going to arrest him. Talking to you, it's like, oh, come, let's get a parley. Let's have a parley. But they didn't say that. They said the moment he steps, in fact, an order was issued. The moment Sowore steps into Nigeria, arrest him. That didn't look like we want to have a parley with you. That said, you know, the young man happens to take advantage of, you know, when the state tries to play with an underdog, they end up propping the person, you know, into prominence. That is what the state has exactly done with the Sowore case. After they messed up the Ajero case too, now they had enough opportunity to redeem their image, you know, in Sowore, and they bungled it again. Choma, it could have been easier, you know, and more convenient for the authorities to not to even put out that statement. If you come in here, we are going to arrest you. They would have allowed the young man come into Nigeria. He will step in. They will quickly invite him for talks. You know, the whole scenario, the whole sensationalism they created about his arrival wouldn't have been unnecessary, because what they did to go to arrest him was more like a first-saving measure, because they couldn't keep him. They seized his passport and eventually returned it. And the young man is one who has been very fearless. And it's like, when they talk about Fearless October, he's living it. You know his history as a student union leader in the University of Lagos, you know. And he is trying to reenact what we experienced during the military era. And I keep saying, we had a more vibrant civil society organization during the military era than what we see now. The only group that seems to be upping the ante is just the Serap that keeps going to court, you know, every now and then. They are doing a very good work. And Sowore has come in the mode of, look, this thing is going to happen. Choma, it is not a contradiction. What he said is not a contradiction. He said they have not done enough. They have not done enough because after the August 10th, between 1st and 10th of August, we had a president who, prior to the protest, was inviting religious leaders, clerics, traditional rulers, and all of that, student leaders, they try to divide the ranks of NANS by they invited one arm of NANS to talk the students out of the protest. And all of those things didn't work, yet Nigerians poured into the streets. And between the 1st and the 8th, I think it was on the 9th that the president addressed Nigerians and said, look, I hear you loud and clear. I understand what you are going through. We are going to look into it. End bad governance, they made 15 remarks, 15 demands. And out of those 15, not even one was made by the government. Days after that protest, we saw the president purchase a new aircraft. We saw the president purchase a new Cadillac, an Escalade. When Nigerians were asking him to cut down on the cost of governance. So does it look like they were listening?
That is to say, Sowore was right when he said he doesn't attend all these dialogue meetings because you're going to dialogue with a deaf person.
It's just like a monologue. They call you in, they tell you this is what we want, this is what we want. And if you don't agree with them, that is the party ends at that point. So it is not a negotiation. They don't have trade-offs. You know, deliverables, trade-offs here and there. They don't have it. They all just instruct you. And when you disagree with them, that is the end of the discussion. So, and like what the president did with us, it's more like a dialogue of the deaf, a monologue. I've heard you. I'm going to listen to what you're saying. But he clearly didn't do that. And that is why Nigerians are regrouping. Sowore is back. Other people that are behind the fearless October 1, they are saying, look, nothing is going to stop this thing.
Now that he's back, you expect him to be at the forefront of the protests in October?
Yeah, he said that much. Didn't he? He said that we listened to him. He said when he says we, he's talking about himself and his comrades.
All right, there's a school of thought, there's certain analysts and Nigerians who believe that he's doing all of this on purpose, propping himself up to look like the person who's taking the fall for Nigerians. I'm saying what you cannot say because he harps on the fact that Nigerians are fearful, but he is fearless and he will keep talking no matter what it is that's done to him. He spoke about how he was arrested 2 days before the Revolution Now protests that happened a few years ago. He doesn't care if they arrest him this time around, but certain people feel that, he came back this time intentionally because he knew that when he comes, they will arrest him. The more they arrest him, the more people talk about him. It will look like this Trump situation. He survived 2 assassination attempts. What is it about him that the people don't want him? What is it about Sowore that the Nigerian government is trying to stop him from speaking up? Is that something you believe as well?
I don't buy that. I don't buy that. The people that are saying this should come and take the fall themselves. Why wouldn't they do that? I mean, this is a young man. The state clearly tells you, if you step in here, we are going to arrest you. And the young man says, look, I'm a Nigerian. I'm coming back to my country. And he did. He came back to Nigeria. What if the federal government had arrested him and kept him in detention interminably, endlessly? Would the same people turn around to say that he's trying to take a fall for the people?
You know, I need to recall that Sowore himself is a presidential candidate of the African Action Congress. So this is someone who also wants to lead Nigeria, right? And that is why this school of thought haps on the fact that, look, he's just trying to position himself as somebody that, in fact, they are more or less persecuting him.
Choma, you are a Christian. At a point, people went to Jesus Christ and said, Paul, we know, Barabbas, you are familiar with that story. And Jesus told them, if they are doing the miracles in my name, allow them to continue doing it. You know? So if Sowore is trying to prop himself up as the presidential candidate of the, what's the name of that? Of the AAC. And so what? The people that are saying this should also come and prop themselves up. This is a young man that is clearly fighting for Nigeria. You might disagree with his methods, but the fact remains that he's out there. The other day, he was nearly run over by vehicles in Abuja during the presidential election. You recall that when Nnamdi Kanu went to court, he also was in court in defense of Nnamdi. And DSS rough-handled him, manhandled him. Is that what somebody that wants to take a fall does? I mean, he's out there in the open. So anybody that disputes what he's doing should come and do a better thing for us to see.
Are you expecting him to also contest in 2027? He spoke about what the government of the day, what his present administration is doing wrongly. Are you expecting him to also come out in 2027, present himself as the presidential candidate that will lift Nigerians out of what they're currently facing?
It's difficult for me to speak for him. We are in 2024. 2027, we have 3 years or thereabout left. So between now and 2027, we'll see how everything pans out. But as a Nigerian, it's his right, has that civic right to contest. As many times, Article is in his 80s. Article says, forget about me, I'll keep contesting until I am tired. And Sowore is a young man, I think he's in his late 40s or early 50s. So he has that, it's his prerogative to contest or not to. So that shouldn't bother people. What should bother people is how do you rally Nigerians to save this country from this rascality that we witness every other day. That is what should bother Nigerians, and whether Sowore is trying to take a fall for Nigerians or whether he's going to contest the 2027 general election. How about people that have already started making arrangements ahead of 2027? What do they have to say about them?
Based on his political ideology, that is Sowore's, because you seem to listen to him a lot. What do you think he would have done differently if he had won, say he had won 2023 presidential elections? Because one thing we experienced with all the candidates was they all agreed that fuel subsidy that this administration did it with just one declaration. Today, Nigerians are buying petrol for over 1,000 naira.
Nigeria, they use computer. The leaders of Nigeria, they use radio where they turn the knob.